everybody, and welcome to Untethered, the political edition. Roger Hanson, I'm your host. Today, I'm co-host Mark Edworthy and my Robert Hanson. Welcome, guys, to the show. So, with that being said, I guess we could start talking about some news. It's been a long time since we've done an untethered version of news, so just to let you know, we usually have things that are a little bit controlled, but I don't know how this year is going to happen. We don't have Mr. Robot with us anymore. He had a horrific accident going through Cambodia as a hitchhiker. Apparently, like five homosexual Hispanics from Cambodia, or no, Hispanic. What would they be called over in Cambodia?
Cambodians.
They
I don't know.
they wouldn't be Latinos. They wouldn't be Filipinos because they're
Are
from.
you sure it was Cambodians? I thought it was sort of beings from another planet.
Yeah, it could have been
Oh,
actually. Could have been could have been beings from another planet that took advantage of him and
that were
introduced.
all holidaying in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Oh, it was to happen on a holiday?
Yes.
Mm.
I guess they wanted to make him squeal like a sow to celebrate.
Now you calm yourself down, Mister. We aren't here to talk that kind of stuff. Okay, so today we decided to start out with a little bit of news when it comes to Iran because we haven't been talking very much on much of the streams about Iran and what's going on over there. So I figured it would be a good chance to open it up and get a conversation going on about it. It doesn't all it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to what's going on with this article. Talk about the rest because we haven't really talked much about it. But if you guys want to talk about more things
Okay.
involved, then feel free.
Well, like,
Now, before you get started, Robert, I'm gonna read the article, and
Don't just add the URL to the chatters so I can just
but
read through it at the same time.
this is from AP. I put it in chat for you, and there's the link. Now, according to this off of AP. World News: Iran fully closes Strait of Hormuz over U.S. blockade and fires on ships. Now, this is from Cairo, AP, or Cairo. Standoff over the Strait of Hormuz escalated again Saturday as Iran reversed its reopening of the crucial waterway and fired on ships attempting to pass. Retaliation after the United States pressed ahead with its blockade of Iranian ports. Now the strait is closed until the U.S. blockade is lifted, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy said Saturday night, warning that no vessels should make any movement from its anchorage in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, and approaching the Strait of Hormuz would be considered a cooperation with the enemy and be targeted. Now, new attacks on the strait, through which roughly one-fifth of the world's oil normally passes, threatened to deepen the global energy crisis and push the countries into renewed conflict. The war entered its eighth week. Now, a fragile ceasefire is due to run out by Wednesday. Iran said it had received new proposals from the United States and Pakistani mediators Pakistani mediators working to arrange another round of direct negotiation. Now, Iran's Joint Military Command earlier said control of the Strait of Hormuz has returned to its previous state under strict management and control of the armed forces. Revolutionary Guard gunboats opened fire on a tanker and an unknown projectile hit a container vessel, damaging some containers. The British military's United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Center said. India's foreign minister said it summoned Iran's ambassador over a serious incident of firing on 2 India-flagged merchant ships, especially after Iran earlier put several India-bound ships through. For Iran, the strait closure imposed after the U.S. and Israel launched the U.S. and Israel launched the war on February 28 during talks over Tehran's nuclear program, perhaps its most powerful weapon, threatening the world economy and inflicting political pain on President Donald Trump. For the United States, the blockade keeps up pressure and could strangle Iran's already weakened economy. Iran's new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, issued defiant remarks on Saturday, saying the Navy stands ready to inflict bitter defeat on its enemies. He said he has not been seen in public since being elevated to post following death in Israel's opening barrage. A turnaround a day after Iran said the strait was open. On Friday, Iran announced the strait's reopening to commercial vessels after a 10-day truce was announced between Israel and Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant groups in Lebanon. The reopening caused oil prices to fall. Trump, however, said the U.S. blockade of Iran's ports will remain in full force until Tehran reaches a deal with the United States. Trump had imposed the blockade after a round of historic face-to-face talks in Pakistan between the countries ended without an agreement. U.S. forces have sent 23 ships back to Iran since the blockade began on Monday, U.S. Central Command said Saturday. Trump's comments triggered an outcry. Americans are risking international community, risking the global economy through these, I can say, miscalculations. Iranian Deputy Khattabzadeh told the Associated Press, adding that the U.S. is risking the whole ceasefire package. Iran's Supreme National Security Council issued a statement calling the blockade a violation of the ceasefire and said Iran would prevent any conditional and limited reopening of the strait. The Council has recently acted as Iran's de facto top decision-making body. Since most supplies to U.S. military bases in the Gulf region come through the strait, Iran is determined to maintain oversight and control over traffic through the strait until the war fully ends. the council said. That means Iran designated routes, payment of fees, and issues of transit certificates. The Revolutionary Guard Navy statement later indicated that no vessel should attempt transit. So it's pretty clear what's going on there. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to you guys and see your thoughts.
Okay. My view is that the US is playing a very dangerous and foolish game here. First of all, look at this from a logistic point of view. If ships did go through the Straits, then the US would have to detain them, which is a big logistic issue. You've got to put those ships into some harbour somewhere. B, take off all the goods off those ships, and C, take some measures to facilitate the sailors on the ships, the crew on the ships. So housing, some board, some food, herbs. So it's going to be a logistical nightmare if many ships go through that area. Because,
yeah, but I was just referring to about like he had problems with overseas where about the ghost ships where they were loading up oil from another ship and then where it was a, what you call it, like it is here, but they were using unmarked. They were owned by another place. They were getting paid, but by smuggling oil from one to the other.
That's technically piracy. That's
yeah, but
illegal.
they were paying them. The country was paying them to do that using ghost ships, where no paperwork. It doesn't show what they're loading up or anything.
Flying of a particular flag, national flag.
Yeah, and but the thing of it is, everyone knows too. Like when we had that problem with I forget the country. The one that they were going to Cuba. Cuba. Okay. What makes that country think that they're any different than what Cuba was? Okay. Where Russia was going to put a nuclear bomb in Cuba, and Cuba was working with them to do that. Okay, for the sole purpose of if you don't bend to our will, we might be getting a nuclear bomb planted on you. And he looked and stopped that from happening.
That's kind of like that's Donald Trump bullshit.
No, I'm talking about Cuba.
Because
that's the kind of shit Donald Trump
what you're talking about is in 1962.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what I'm saying,
and that wasn't a international trading route.
Right. That was actually nuclear bombs being delivered to Cuba.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, who would permit that to happen? You know, if you got a known terrorist organization that has abilities,
be very careful of how you use the term terrorist in this.
Exactly.